Well, Danny Salazar just became my number one. I think my cousin too. Your number one? Fuck yeah, that dude is the shit. But also his daughter though. Because didn't she, or at least it seems like she actually lured that dude she was sleeping with out just to take him. You know, how badass is that? I like the direction they went with that, especially with those two characters. That's solid. Because you have that cliche character, that daughter who's very sheltered, you know, and that is a cliche character, and oftentimes that can be a very dull character to have on TV. But I do love how, like my cousin said this too, Madison, even though she didn't agree with it, she was asking the soldier questions. Like, she jumped right in there, like, listen, where are they? Why can't you find them? Whoop-de-whoop. She didn't even hesitate. And then when she goes back upstairs, she did voice her concern, like, this isn't how I think we should handle the situation. And I do like how each person feels differently. The daughter, even though she's not fully 100% like, you know, gangster as I thought before, she's still like, yeah, we gotta do this. Just please, Dad, don't hurt him, because she still has feelings for him. The dad is all about just getting the information. And not just some information, the right information. That's why he's all like, yeah, you can say you're going to tell me whatever, but I'm going to make sure you tell me the truth. But I like what they're doing with the military. Some of them, especially the leader there, he's an asshole. They didn't just kill the guy. We saw him in the Humvee. He had a busted up face, which means they did rough him up. And I like what he said, a momentary lapse of patriotism or something. That was good. They're not called walkers. The one guy did call them skin bags. That was interesting. But I think that dickhead army guy got either shot in the back by his own crew or just straight left there. And I wonder if that's going to be the downfall of this, you know, little group of army members here, because it seemed like from what we've seen, that one guy, Officer Dick, was the main one, you know, running the show. So if he is the main one, and if their unit took a hard hit, no one's sleeping. You know what I mean? They don't have full rotations. They don't have the right amount of people they need, the right amount of soldiers. We see a lot of them are either dead or wounded. They don't have enough guys. Now with that leader gone, I don't think there's a second in command besides the guy who was right there. And that second in command, he's like, I'm out of here. He's going to find his family. So now there's no, you know, third in command, let's say. So no, who's leading that safe zone as far as the military officials? So I think that might be the downfall of that. But I do want to say something. One thing I do have a problem with sometimes is broken dialogue. I know in real life people do speak in a lot of broken dialogue. It's not these beautiful long sentences. But I really wish when Madison came into the kitchen to talk with Danny and he came up, I really, really wish she said something first to start with his conversation, like, what the hell did you do? Something simple like that. Because it just went from like 0 to 100 and it was deep, but it really, really felt like Madison should have just said something to get him to talk instead of him just being on a soapbox, you know? What they're doing as far as leaving us with Travis and not taking us in the building, yes, it would have been more interesting to take us in the building and have some military killing zombie, you know, seeing what happens in there. That would be interesting as shit, you know what I'm saying? But for the feel of it and get to feel what it's like in Travis's shoes, for a minute there I felt like the panic. Well, I wasn't panicking, but I could understand how that character is feeling panicked, because they're not, you know, they're not out there fighting every day. They only had that, what, 1 or 2 instances, and then all of a sudden he's out here in the war zone away from the safe zone and shit is going down and it might get really bad. So I like how they did that. So the soldier tells what Cobalt is. That's a evac for the army, and then to exterminate the living with humane procedure. Is that what he said?
I think so.
It's a nuke, basically. They're pulling the army out, and then they're going to drop a nuke. As far as the definition of Cobalt on the internet, that's what it said pertaining to this episode. So my question is, how far does that spread? You know what I mean? Are they just, yeah, they would probably just bomb the safe zone, I guess. Also, the hospital isn't just grabbing people and exterminating them. It looks like they were trying to do the right thing. They actually were at first. They have everything set up the best they can to help these people. However, it's like the last stand and they gotta just bounce, and that's what Cobalt's all about, so they can bounce out of there. Now you guys know I did make fun of what we would see Alicia do in this episode, and I said I was making fun that she would finish her tattoo. Well, it is nice that we got to see her being more playful, especially when she came up to Chris on the bicycle. However, at a point when they were in there getting all dolled up, I just was like, man, what the fuck is the point? You know, just show them a little bit and move on to something more interesting. I just wasn't in the mood for that tonight, you know what I mean? But if I was him, I wouldn't be smashing glasses, let me tell you that right now, you know? And I can say that because in real life, she's like 24. She ain't, you know, in high school, so I think she's like 24. At least I hope so. I hope IMDb's right on this one. Well, yeah, I might have to edit this if I find out something different. But yeah, I wouldn't be smashing vases. Let's put it that way, or champagne bottles. All right, so it's over. But real quick, I wanted to say, when the black dude gave his cufflinks, was it just me, or did the guard say, "Much love" or "Still love, Abe"? Or was that... I gotta rewatch that, because I heard Abe and I was thinking, conspiracy theory starting. And another possible throwback to the original is when you see those doors chained up with a board in them and you see them pushing out. Now, if I heard it right, there's like 2,000 walkers in that stadium, and that soldier did lock it up. I wouldn't even be mad at the army if they were just leaving. But the fact that they're like, okay, we're leaving, but... you know, we're going to put you down. I mean, give us a fighting chance at least. Just leave and let us do our thing. And I think one of the best things at the end, Liza pulled a No Country for Old Men type hit on Griselda. Or, I always say her name wrong. Mama Salazar. If you guys ever see No Country for Old Men, the killer in it does that, the air gun with the cattle or whatever. He carries this air gun and just hits. I love that movie. Love that movie. Anyway, that's what that is. The gun you saw Liza have, that is an air gun, and it shoots air. I don't know if this works in real life. I mean, it's for cattle, so if it goes through a cow's head, it's got to go through a person's head. But it's an air gun. It just, from what I understand, just from the behind the scenes of No Country for Old Men, it just blasts like a stream of air right through the skull, destroying the brain. It could have just shot a hole in her head from the gate, but they tried taking her leg, but her blood was septic. I guess the infection got into her bloodstream, and she ended up dying from it. So they did try to help her, and then at the very end, they had to put her down. However, if you walked right in there, if Danny walks right in there, it's going to look like they just shot his wife in the head. And that might be very hard to explain. And I don't know if he's even going to believe Liza when she says, listen, they tried. Now, he could see they cut off her foot, so he could probably come to the conclusion that, yeah, they could have tried. Since everything's picking up so quickly and the military's leaving, I don't know if they're going to build any friction there with Danny thinking that they just executed his wife. Because the only friction that would last would be with Liza. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it because the military's gone, so yeah, I don't think that's going to be a case. But anyway, I thought this was a real good episode. Like I said before, there's a big part of me that wants to see a mad dash for survival in a zombie apocalypse. And then there's another part of me that just enjoys the shit out of zombie shows. And I don't mind the slow burn. So again, at times I am up and down with it. But I did like this episode. I thought this was a good episode. I enjoyed a lot of the character interaction throughout the whole thing. Some of the character development I did enjoy. Some of it was still dull and I didn't want to see it, like, you know, in the house and whatever. Some of it, I'm just saying, just a little bit. But I liked this episode even a lot better than, I think, like episode 2 or episode 3. I think it was like episode 3. So this for me was a good episode. But anyway, leave your feedback in this comment section, because in a couple days, once we get everyone leaving some feedback, I'm going to go through all the feedback, see what you guys say, and make a follow-up video like I did with the last video based on your feedback. So, put your thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.